Welcome to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast, with your hosts, Mike Manino and Nariman Hamden, bringing you insights and stories on achieving personal, professional, and financial success.
Hi, everybody. It's Michael Menino, and welcome to Driven Unscripted Success Podcast. Today on the podcast, we're interviewing professionals who share their experience with you, the audience, on how they got to where they're at today. And we have a very special guest, Tom DuFore. He is, I can't do it, but I'm going to say 22-year in franchising. He takes companies and shows them how to become franchise. He's got a doctorate in business. I had a brief conversation with him before we started. I'd like him to tell him about himself. Tom, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, no, thank you for being on the show. You're one of the special guest stars. Really do appreciate it. So do me a favor, tell everybody the horrible introduction that I gave you, a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you're at today.
Sure. I'll make it brief, but I've spent my career in franchising, really. And it's one of those things for people in the franchise world. It's a career that I've yet to meet someone who intended to go into franchising. It just happened. And that's a running joke in the franchise community is, how'd you get into this space? And so for me, it just happened to be my first job right out of college. I was a business management major. I wanted to get into some form of business management. Or into management consulting. My first job just happened to be at a company that specialized in turning and working primarily with small to mid-sized businesses and helping them turn into a franchise. And so I fell in love with it. It married these two ideas that I loved. I loved the idea of the American dream and entrepreneurship. And to me, pursuing entrepreneurship was living the life of this American dream. And here I was able to help someone who had successfully fulfilled and gone out and is living this American dream. Now they're going to franchise to help someone else that wants to get into entrepreneurship and pursue that. And so it's just this beautiful world that I fell in love with. And here we are 22 years later. I've worked for a few different companies, but eventually started my own 10 years ago and have been a franchisee and worked in a variety of capacities within franchising along the way. But I've advised well over 10,000 small businesses that I've consulted with over the years and helped over 600 companies go through this process of expanding.
Yeah, very interesting. Franchisee, for the people that don't know, is if you have a business, you can sell your business to other people to make more businesses. I think it's a great program. I really do. And the people that do it do pretty well on it, if I'm not mistaken. So so what it helps out is the person that has the business has a nice system and process to duplicate it, correct?
Yes, that's right. Correct. Yeah. Generally speaking, someone that turns in usually franchise, we look at three broad categories to these check boxes. One, they have a profitable prototype that's operating. That kind of makes sense. Number two is that they have an audience or customer or base or an audience or potential customer base nationally. And then number three is that they can teach someone how to do this in a reasonable time frame. And for most entrepreneurs, it's not can they teach? It's really, are they willing to, is sometimes how I rephrase that question. And if you can check those boxes, chances are your business is at least a candidate for considering to be franchised. Now, does it mean you should franchise? Absolutely not. But those are some kind of quick checkboxes to say, maybe does my business and the opportunity certainly then begins. The advantage of the idea of franchising is you're able to open more locations without having to invest all of your personal resources or take out loans or give up equity in the company and share in the gain. So it really becomes this mutual gain idea. As franchisees succeed, the franchisor succeeds.
I have a philosophy in business and it works very well. And it's just basically when I sit down at the table, everybody's got to win. How do we make that happen?
Yeah.
I think what you're trying to say is that, the franchisee works and does well, and then the franchisor does well.
Yes. Yeah. And if that relationship is going well, then the end customer that you're delivering the goods or services to, they are going to win. So it's this, and we talk about this kind of triple win idea. It's got to work for the customer, it's got to work for the franchisee and the franchisor. But the ultimate is really focusing for the franchisor. How can I help my franchisee be more successful at what they're doing? And if you're building with that in mind, then you're also problem solving for the customer. Everything else works itself out. And that idea of win-win, right? In fact, our company number one value is win-win relationships. And that's how we approach every aspect of business as well. So I love that approach.
That's awesome. Is there a lot of competition in what you do, and what sets you guys apart?
Yeah, great question. This is a very niche industry, and
Please don't have a lot of competition. There's probably, if you don't mind me interrupting, it doesn't
yeah,
sound like for every other company, there's thousands of people. I'm sure for you, it's more like hundreds, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, it's probably more like tens. There,
Really?
there just aren't that many. And I did some research a few years ago, and the market capitalization for this kind of consulting world, I found just market cap in professional services about $60 million in total nationally. And then when you narrow that down, only about half of that would fall under kind of the category of service types of services we provide. So we're talking about a total national market capitalization of $30 million. So it's a very small pool. Therefore, most of every competitor in this space is a small business, maybe tied into a larger enterprise of some kind, but there just aren't that many companies that franchise in a given year when you think about it.
That's what I was trying to say. I noticed we sold one of our business, sold half our business one time, and there's brokers. I'm sure there's 10 times more brokers than there are franchisee companies.
Yes, that's right. There are lots of franchise brokers that help
Right.
place in franchise broker and franchising. They're people that are like a real estate agent helping someone buy a
Right.
home. They're
Mhm.
helping someone that's looking to buy a franchise figure out, okay, what can I afford? What's my interest? And going through all of that. And that's correct. Yep. Lots of great folks out there. We work with a lot of really great franchise brokers in the community for sure.
You've been doing this for a minute. If someone listening wants to get better at what they do, what tips and tricks and suggestions would you give them?
Yeah. So it's something that I like to recommend, whether a business franchises or not, is imagining as if you were a franchise. How might you do whatever you're doing differently if you had 100 locations or 1,000 locations? How might you do whatever you're doing differently, or documenting what that might look like and thinking of this as replacing yourself? And there's a great exercise in the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber where he talks about a similar type of concept. But I think it's a great exercise, whether you decide whether you franchise or not. It just makes your system, it makes it better for your own sanity and health, especially for a small business owner where maybe a lot of things still funnel through you, or for a growing enterprise that's now clipping and saying we're opening more locations, hiring a lot of staff, and the distance between the founder and other staff is now becoming multi-layer. Having these consistent processes and documented and being followed only help your business and allow you to either figure out, do I want to replace myself? It makes your business more valuable when you go to sell it. It makes it easier to sell if you want to exit at some point in time, or if you decide to franchise, or whatever you decide to do your business is in a better position.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So this isn't a question that I'm going to ask everybody. This is a question I'm going to ask you. What's one of your craziest franchise that you franchise?
Oh, wow. So one that comes to mind, I had a client several years ago that he was an inventor and figured out a way to create a mobile. He would go to oil derricks, and he was able to take excess oil that was not used in the refining process. And so he would be able to take that oil and refine it with a mobile contraption he had created and be able to resell that product as a usable product to manufacturers, or I don't know I can't recall exactly who the target audience was for the customer. It was that was a
Mobile refinery.
Yes, it was a very interesting business. That was very, very unique. I found that one interesting. I also have a client, a more recent one, a similar. It's a mobile type business, but it's a mobile veterinarian clinic. So who would think it's a mobile veterinarian clinic that comes to you with a minibus and it's become a popular trend, especially for folks that have dogs or cats or even horses that it's hard to either transport or they don't do well. Some of these loved ones of the pet furry friends of the family don't do well when they have to go to the vet and they have to put them on drugs or other stuff to chill them out. And this was one where they actually come to you. So that's an interesting idea as well.
Awesome. I've heard a lot of people on my podcast. We get a lot of crazy businesses. And what I'm seeing a lot now is online doctors. And I hate to say this, they're trying to get rid of the insurance companies. So for a very small fee, you can have a doctor in a pocket, they call it. And you call them up and you get their number and hey, I got this and this. All right. And they give you a kit. That's really cool stuff. They give you a kit and then you can take your own blood pressure. You can take your own this. And then they ask you all these questions and they prescribe everything. Say, you don't even have to go to the doctor. And it's really cool, innovative ideas out there, isn't it? You probably see a ton of them.
Very much. Yeah. And what you're describing, we've seen some pieces of similar related to that with this telehealth and telemedicine idea.
Yep.
Growing, and an urgent care clinic that we worked with had a telehealth component to it to really meet the customers, the patients, but really their customers where they are, and to be able to serve and help more people that might not be able to travel an hour or 90 minutes to them.
Let's say they're on the outskirts. I live in South Carolina and I've got hundreds of millions of people around me that are an hour away from downtown. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is a really cool, great idea.
Yep.
Tom, do me a favor. Tell me one of the biggest challenges you had to overcome in your career and how'd you do it?
Oh, goodness. I would say one of the biggest challenges I had to overcome is when I left consulting. I was hired away by one of my clients and I left consulting into an industry that I had no prior background to. At the time, I was 28. I was the youngest. I was hired in as the head of, I had a big fancy title, but basically vice president of sales and marketing. And I was the youngest person on the leadership team. It was about $120 million a year business. And I was tasked with taking these people in a trades. It was in commercial paving and commercial roofing and fuel and oil distribution, this construction trades conglomerate. And basically, I'm a young guy that's only ever worked white collar work in the eyes of folks that have been there for, some of them, decades, that spent their whole career doing this. That was a big challenge to come in and really not just earn the respect of people there, but just show that I can add value to the organization in a different way. And for me, what I did early on and over again was I never wanted to be the smartest guy in the room. I just asked a lot of questions. I had one-to-one meetings with people often right from the onset, hours just meeting one-to-one with staff and team members and people that were involved to understand and to try and figure out how we can best grow the business, and was part of the growth and helped lead a lot of the growth when we added $60 million to the top line through new customer acquisition over a 2-year window. It was very rapid growth.
Really?
It was a substantial growth in that time period. Then the challenge became accommodating and servicing that growth. So that was really interesting. But I was less involved with that. I was on the sales and marketing side. So the operations team did a great job figuring all of that out. So I would say the recognizing when I was this, I had stripes on and everybody else had spots. The thing and walking into this scenario, and it would have been very easy to try and maybe flex muscle or rely on my title or position, but that's not how I like to do business. It's very much we're all working together as a team. How can we figure out a way to row in the same direction together? And how can I support you was just the big question I asked everybody. How can I help you be better or do better at what you want to do and doing well in your role?
That leads to the next question. You have a lot of roles in a position, especially with what you do, is you have to give another job to the person that's running the company, and they usually don't have any time to begin with. You got to give them teaching. So how do you structure that and I don't know if you've noticed this, I teach martial arts, and some people are good teachers and some people aren't. What do you do in the situation when you have a good teacher and a bad teacher, and what do you do?
Oh, that's a great question. In terms of teaching it, I think you're referring to teaching our clients as they're coming in and they're converting into a franchise, right? They're this new business and now they have to learn how to do this new thing, and they're already busy running their existing enterprise. And in today's lingo, I say this franchising is your side hustle until it's not. And so it's in the startup mode again. And so that's a hard mindset shift for a lot of founders to get back into, oh, wait, how did we do that again? How do I grind and go through that? And it's less of a traditional type of grind that you might be used to as a startup. But having that mindset's important when you go into it. And then for those that don't teach well or are not great at it, generally, and how I coach our clients to do this is usually there are people on staff that are good at doing this. So there's maybe an operations manager, a key salesperson, somebody that does well in each of these pieces. So rely on the team, and it doesn't all have to funnel through the founder. And one little, I guess, franchise hack, for lack of a better description, that I encourage our clients to do is don't feel like you have to teach, for example, all of the tech stack details. Don't feel like you have to teach all of the operational machinery and things. The vendors and suppliers that sell this equipment and sell these resources and sell this technology, they are happy to provide high quality training and education to your franchisees at no cost, because you are spoon feeding them new customers, because your contract and manuals say that the franchisee must use this stuff to run their business. And so anyway, those resources are readily available. And it's one thing that a lot of new franchisors, even existing, don't think of, or don't, I don't want to say take advantage of, but don't seize that opportunity that's right in front of them.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so much opportunity in like what you just said. I like trying to maximize productivity and income. So if I were to franchise my company, I would want to, if I had any vendors, I would like to get a percent of the business that they present to their franchisee, because I'm the franchise. I'm giving you more business. Can I get a cut of it? And that's another win-win situation. The vendors get more business, and then if you split that off into 2 or 3 business, they get much more, and so they can drop their price a little bit and give you the difference. And that's a win-win situation for everybody involved.
Yes.
They get more business, you get more money, and then the franchisee gets a good product.
That's exactly right. And oftentimes in what I encourage our clients to do is that product or whatever they're purchasing is generally at a below market rate price for them. So they're getting it for less than what they would if they had gone into business on their own.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. We flip houses and do apartment complexes, and we get our properties for less than market price. I know exactly what you're talking about. We can show people how to do that too. It's actually a lot of fun. And I hate to say I love business because it's just fun.
Yes, agreed.
So real quick, I ask this question a lot, and a lot of people stutter on this one. I can't wait to hear the answer on this one. It sounds like things are going pretty well from you financially. And in the future, curious, have you ever considered and created income without doing any work? So passive income.
Passive income. So outside of just a typical set it and forget it type of retirement account, that kind of stuff, I personally have not done much. I've been part of franchise systems where I've been minority partners and involved in some of these franchise programs. That's much more of a passive role. But in each of those instances, it has been a little bit, there has been time required as part of it. It's not 100% like just set it and forget it. That's probably the closest to it. And for me, so much of it has just been, which this is not a great answer, but it's the fear of the unknown in some of these passive income type of opportunities, some of these in various forms of real estate, the world you're in. It's intriguing. It's of interest. It's been of interest since I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad 25 years ago. I have yet to act on the real estate piece. It's always there, but there's the unknown factor, and I have not invested the time to learn more about it. I guess that's not a great answer, but that's the reality of it.
It's an answer. But the franchisee's part, if you get a part of the franchisee and they're minority, see, that's the problem. A lot of people have this control issue. And if you can just give up the control and let, people that run the companies that I'm sure you're invested or working with companies that you don't know everything about.
Correct, for sure.
And you make money on doing that, but you don't have to understand the whole thing. And that's the biggest issue is people are afraid of the unknown. And what I like to tell people is partner up with people that do it. You do it on a consistent basis. And just what you're doing, you're getting people that are consistently making money, and you're showing them other people how to do it.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah. And I'm a big proponent of that. Finding, certainly it's my profession. Yeah, it's my profession. It's what I do. But finding those, it's even the same idea with franchising or with what you do, finding someone that has been through the process before that can help guide you. And even with franchisors, I tell them Our role with helping them franchise their business is the same role that they're going to have with their franchisees. They're going to help keep the path more narrow, fewer zigs and zags, and the zigs and zags aren't as big, avoiding some common pitfalls and missteps along the way.
Yeah, that's really the key. Follow somebody that's, you're talking about Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I actually am the Rich Dad. In the book, I don't know if everybody knows the book. There's a day, this Robert Kiyosaki has two dads, his actual dad and then his best friend's dad, who he considered a dad. And that he was like a construction company guy and his dad was a professor at a school. And then he compared the contrast between just read the book. Just read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a great book, right?
Oh, I agree. It's one of those business books. It's just a must for business, personal development, personal finance. He does a great job of making something simple to understand that there's a light bulb moment, an aha moment where you say, oh, I understand. I get it. Now, acting on it's another thing, but understanding it is the first step.
And you know what I've noticed? I do a lot of coaching, a lot of speeches. What stops people from being their best? What do you think that is? That's a good question. What do you think stops people from being their best?
From what I've observed in others and in myself is self-doubt, I would say, is a big piece, is just self-doubt, or the voice of doubt creeping into someone's mind that says, what if? And it's always a negative consequence without counterbalancing it with the what if on the positive consequence. So
that's a good point.
For every probably one positive consequence, you're probably thinking of 10, at least, if not 20 negative consequences. You say the return or the bonus or the whatever positive side is this, and then you've got 20 other things that say no. And very often there are relational dynamics that come into it, because it's not just you. If you're married or have family or living with other people, you have other things to take into consideration too, for personal social dynamics that get wrapped into that and down decisions and create that hesitation.
I've noticed it's fear.
Yes.
The fear of the unknown, or fear of investing, or fear of trying.
Yes.
And I'd like to coach people, or I don't know the right word, advise people or help people understand that if you've made a decision out of fear, you've probably made the wrong one.
Yeah. I tend to agree with that. And we see that in whether it's a client someone we work with to franchise their business, where they decide not to because they're scared or fear is driving that.
Well, what's the fear? What's the fear of that? You just fear of making more money. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, there's very little downside to do it in the beginning, other than if you try it and you don't sell anything or it doesn't work out for some reason. But the downside's pretty low risk in that regard. It's about as low risk as for most clients I've worked with. The risk of opening up a new location, the cost to do that is 2 to 10 times the cost to actually turn your business into a franchise. So they've
already done the hard work.
That's right. The hard work's done.
They've already done the hard work and the expensive stuff. Now it's easy. Rinse and repeat.
That's exactly right. And we see it too, no different than people going into entrepreneurship, right? So we see that with people thinking about buying a franchise that have never owned a business before. It's just this fear of working for yourself when you're your own boss. It's exciting, but also at the same time, nerve-wracking. If you've never... as an employee, oftentimes when you're on a W-2, you're like the caged lion at the zoo, tapping your watch at 12:02 saying, where's my steak? It's time, feeding time, versus being the lion in the wild. And now you're fending for yourself, but you roam wherever you please. You control your own destiny in that situation. It's a big mental game for sure.
I love your analogy. I absolutely love your analogy. I'm actually going to put that as a highlight on this podcast. So the lion in the cage has to tap his watch for feeding time. The lion in the wild just gets his food whenever he's hungry.
That's right. So and I know it's a bit of an extreme, but there's some reality to it. It's when you're the employee, you're used to getting that regular, whether it's every week, every couple weeks, paycheck coming through, versus being out on your own. And now the income's not guaranteed, but for most entrepreneurs, you're able to generate as much income or as you would like to for your personal income and what that lifestyle is you're trying to live, or not generate. And it really gets into that individual agency and recognizing and embracing the idea that you have a control over a lot more than you probably think you do if you just take action to make it happen.
Exactly. I agree. Like, taking action is the hardest part. I try and coach people. Just do it. What happens with this? And I understand people's brains are not your friend. They're not your friend. Your brain is not your friend. That is the number one thing I want to show people. If you just do it, like I'm the kind of guy that jumps in both feet. Water's cold, hot. I'm just going to swim no matter what the deal is. And it's hard to show people that because your brain is designed to keep you alive. That's all it's designed to do. So it tells you all the negative to consider all the negative before you jump. I'm just jumping and figure it out. Seems to work out well for me, but I don't know if I'd advise that with everybody.
Yep.
So listen, wrapping up the interview, thank you very much. What exciting plans you have for the next 6 to 12 months? What's on your docket for this year?
Yeah, so exciting plans for this year that we're really focused on is providing for a better customer experience coming through our program. So our team is really focused on saying, how can we make what we're delivering to be a better experience for our customers? And it sounds small and it really only impacts our little crew of folks. Right. But we really want to say, how can we continue to serve the customer and make it better for the folks we have, and then the new customers that come through, that their experience is even further enhanced to help them get to that completion point faster, find success in what they're doing more quickly or with greater ease. It might not be faster, but if it can be a little smoother along the way, that's going to be a huge win. So that's a big part of what we're focused on this year is in building out improving our own internal systems.
Improving the experience.
Yep.
Awesome. Hey, listen, Tom, thanks a lot for the interview. Really do appreciate it. And for anybody else, please, if you're thinking about franchising, give Tom a shout. I'm more than certain you'll be surprised. If I had something I could replicate, I'd already talk to you about it. I love what we do, but it's a very unique industry, and it's hard to scale. It's hard to show other people how to do it. Talk about fear.
Yep.
Tom, do me a favor. Before you take off, could you get everybody the information on how to get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best place to reach out is on our website. You can go to bigskyfranchise.com. That'll redirect to our main site. That's just a little bit of a shorter URL, but we have a free consultation we offer to anybody who's interested in learning more. We have podcasts, webinars, we have free quizzes, a wealth of information that's available on the site as a starting point. And as I tell everyone, there's no cost to do anything until you say, let's do business and sign a contract. Any kind of conversations. I talk to people for years sometimes before they actually decide that they're ready to do this or decide they don't want to do it. That'd be the best place to start there.
I would agree wholeheartedly. Thank you very much for the time and sharing your experience. We do appreciate it, and the audience does too. So for everybody else, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. And thanks, Tom, for being on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Michael. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast. Want to share your story? Apply to be a guest at drivensuccesspodcast.com/guest.